when did you first start hearing, obviously there was things like the Valentines, My Bloody Valentine in UK as early as I think 89 that was going on. And there was bands like Ride and stuff like that. And then obviously across the pond, as you all say, there was the Seattle thing. There was what was going on in Minneapolis. Like what part of all that, right? What part of all that like first got your attention and around what year?
The year might be tough, but whenever Surfer Rosa, I was obsessed with 4AD records,
Yeah. Well, it's 88?
4AD.
Surfer Rosa 88, 8 or 9?
88, 89. So what happened was...
is that the album after Doolittle?
No, it's before.
Okay, right.
So it was like...
You're talking about the Pixies, so Pixies, right. What the hell.
So what happened is that like Aerosmith were ruling the world, or like hair metal bands, right?
Oh yeah.
They're doing rock. Now when I would listen to those, I'd enjoy Aerosmith, which are super bluesy, but only because I just couldn't believe his voice. It's just the most incredible instrument, one of the greatest voices of all time, I think. So I loved him, but I felt really disconnected from any ability to go anywhere near that style of music. It just seemed I didn't have the pants tight enough. So when I played the Pixies, and I remember the moment, because the most beautiful artwork with Vaughan Oliver, who I subsequently hired to do Razorblade Suitcase record because I love him so much. If I couldn't get signed to the label, I might as well use their art director, right? And when I put that record on, and I just the Steve's sound, well, it was the sound of the Pixies, but actually Steve's sound, which is just Steve's drum sound. And then hearing, Michael, Frank Black, whatever, singing, I suddenly realized that it was possible to make rock music, emphatic music.
I think we all had the same realization at the
singing like that.
I think we all had the same realization at almost the exact same time.
Really?
Well, Cobain talked about it a lot.
Right.
I saw them in that exact same period, and I had the same revelation. It's like, how are you generating this power, but you don't sound like all those other bands?
Is that what happened?
It was, everybody, of course, talks about Nirvana, and there's good reasons for that. But really, it was the Pixies that I think cracked our heads open. We thought we can be cool and play rock.
Yes.
It seemed to all kind of mash it together at the right moment.
I was lost. It'd be fair to say that what I'd done exactly at that point is I had been in London and my second band had failed, and I was left looking what to do. And it's the first time in my life I was worried about it, because before that I had like the brazen youth, like it will come right, and that was just the most helpful sort of signpost on a bleak mountain of where to head towards, and then you have to make your way, Kim being the perfect foil for him. There's so many things about it you can't emulate, you can't do. They were unbelievable. But that was where I really felt liberated, that there was hope, that there was a way forward, You have to forge your own way, and if you look at, then you get into like, you find Fugazi, and you find, who I just think they're the greatest band. That turned me on to the Jesus Lizard. That's why I was listening to all of Steve.
So we had a lot of that in Chicago, because Jesus Lizard was Chicago.
Of course, yeah.
And everybody would come through and play the Metro in Chicago. Yeah. So we got every one of those bands. Right. I saw Happy Mondays open for the Pixies on Doolittle.
Wow.
Packed Metro. I mean, you couldn't move.
Right.
And of course, the Mondays were an hour and a half late because the lead singer was getting a VD shot.
Oh.
So the Mondays made everybody wait an hour and a half to start the gig. And when the Mondays came on to play, the crowd booed him out of the building. And the Mondays, being Manchester, right? One of these. And they just started playing. And by the end, the crowd loved them. I've never seen a band turn a hating, crowing object crowd into loving them in 60 minutes, like I've seen in that gig. And then after that was then the Pixies doing Doolittle in that moment in Chicago, with Steve and his whole world there, because obviously the connection. So those were really interesting ground zero moments,
Right.
Saw Soundgarden same time, Louder Than Love, that tour.
Yeah, that was. You see, that for me was just the record, because I was stuck in London, so I would hear that record. And when I heard that Loud of Love, I feel that confusion of like
what is this?
Yeah.
Like, and I remember the first time I heard them, I think I couldn't tell if they were taking the piss. And actually, some people I knew were like, "Oh, it's a joke. They're not really playing heavy. They're pretending to play heavy."
Right.
But then you'd listen to Chris singing, you'd think, I don't know if they're pretending. There's no fucking way you can sing like that.
Right. And of course, Alice in Chains.
Great. Fantastic.
And that Man in the Box was, Dave Jordan. It just was like, there was hope. It was just sort of, it felt like, that was when it made sense that I began my journey really focusing on the words and thinking that other people were doing the music. And inadvertently, people weren't doing the music. So when my second band, where the guy wouldn't let me play, I wasn't, he didn't want me to play guitar because he was a really, really good guitar player. But the point about it is, as we know, it's not about being the best guitar player, it's having the right chords to support the song.
Well, even the feeling.
Right. So to support the song. And so it just unlocked something in me.